If you want to start learning conversational hypnosis, then start with these two simple techniques. Here's Mike Mandel to start us off.
All right, so let's say you're having a conversation with someone. Did you know that you can fire suggestions into the other person's mind just by altering your voice? I mean, you really can. So what are we talking about here? There's two powerful hypnosis tricks that work really well together. We were talking about embedded commands and the voice.
Right, and the voice and the embedded commands work together. So let's first talk about the voice, or what we teach is the hypnotic voice. It sounds like a horror film, you know, the voice, and weird hypnotists from movies and stuff like that, and the way people perceive hypnosis is some weird sounding guy. It's not like that at all. It's actually something that is really, really good. Now, the voice is a technique where the hypnotist is going to slowly alter his or her voice to a lower and perhaps a quieter pitch. Now, the key is to do it slowly. You're not just abruptly shifting to some sort of weird sounding voice and exaggerating it, right? What you're doing is you're just slowly getting the person's attention and then shifting your voice such that they don't necessarily notice that you've made a big shift. Now, let's talk about how this is actually pretty common in storytelling already, right?
Right. It's great when you're telling a story because by gradually switching to the voice, hear it? Your story will be more compelling, and the unconscious mind of the listeners will take notice. I did this when I did keynotes all the time, switching to the voice, but don't overdo it. It really only needs a small shift to be effective. Right. Now, there's no need to sound like some sort of insane lunatic and scaring your subject.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we see this exaggerated all the time, and it sounds absurd. But Mike's making a good point here. The shift happens. Now, where does the shift happen? Well, if you're doing hypnosis formally, then it's going to happen when you want to actually start doing the hypnosis. If you're doing it conversationally, which is the point of this video, to give you some tips to get started, what you're going to do is make sure that you have captured the person's attention. Once you've captured their attention, then you're going to begin to shift into your hypnotic voice. So that's what I'm demonstrating right here.
Yes.
Right? Very simple. Now,
which then leads to embedded commands. Now, embedded commands are used to get suggestions and directions past the critical faculty, you know, the doorman at the bar trying to keep you out and his big keep out sign. The key is to keep the suggestions short and hide them in so-called ordinary or normal sentences, whatever they are. For example, if you want the person to begin to itch, you might say the sentence, I don't know, lately a lot of people say that they feel itchy. But what makes it powerful is to ensure the command is somehow marked out so it stands out a bit. In this case, feel itchy.
Right, because the first demo you did was just regular reading it.
Right, and that will do nothing.
Or saying it, I should say.
That'll do nothing. But if I say, you know, I found lately a lot of people are starting to talk about that they're beginning to feel itchy. And I use the voice, and I look at the person and say, feel itchy. And that slips past the critical faculty.
And it's a simple thing to notice that you can use this technique in everyday life, right? So once you draw people's attention and you slow down your voice and you start using that hypnotic voice, you can just offer commands.
Yes.
Like that.
And that's very powerful. You can look at the person as you say the hypnotic command as a way of marking it out. And Chris, I wonder if you're going to begin to feel itchy. So I turn to him, look at him as I say. Now, if the person knows you're doing it, of course they can build their defenses against it. Or you could touch their arm or shoulder. Chris, you know, it's very simple nowadays to begin to get tired. That's, I'm marking it. I'm doing it in a very clumsy, obvious way, touching, looking at them, or pausing just before you say your embedded command. All of these will slip it past the critical faculty.
So those are two really simple ways to begin to use conversational hypnosis. Now let's address it's not really the elephant in the room, but a common question that will come up is like, well, this is mind control, and you can make anybody do anything, anytime with these techniques. Now,
except for one thing.
It's completely false.
Nonsensical. But this stuff is happening anyway when you're just having conversation. You're emphasizing things. Sometimes it's something you want to emphasize. Sometimes you're just making some other point. These things are already happening. What we're giving you is the tools to detect them and also to use them for the benefit of other people.
That's right.
Because you can make people feel way better by learning these simple conversational hypnotic techniques.
Because we only gave you the itchy example because it's more fun on YouTube. There you go. All right, so just as an example, let's say you were using this in everyday life as a parent. And let's say you've got a child and that child is freaked out by the volume of math homework, you know, 16 pages of problems that have to be solved or something like that. Anything where there's overwhelm. Well, as a parent, you might just slip into normal conversation and say, yeah, it's a lot of homework. Obviously, I mean, man, that would not be a lot of fun to do that. But the funny thing is, when you just solve one problem, the rest seems to come easily. And it's an amazing thing. All you need to do is attack that first problem, and the rest will just start to happen automatically.
Nicely done. You hear him slipping into the voice very subtly, but he's marking out the key points, which would work in this case.
So that is how we recommend you begin using conversational hypnosis to help people, not just to make them feel itchy, which is kind of hilarious, but you can make them laugh too, and that's a good thing, because the laughing trance is very closely related
close to the itching
trance. So you can get people to laugh, and you can get people to feel good about themselves, and you can do this all by shifting your voice and using embedded commands.
That's right.
All right, so we'll see you in the next video. While you're here, you may as well click that subscribe button, and then you'll see a little bell you can ring on YouTube. Leave us some comments. How are you going to apply this in your own life? That's what we want to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks again.
And good night.